The company's annual gala unfolded inside the soaring glass atrium of headquarters, 30 floors above the restless city grid. Chandeliers spilled fractured light across polished marble, turning every surface into a shallow mirror. Waitstaff glided between clusters of navy suits and jewel-toned gowns, balancing trays of champagne flutes that caught the glow like liquid stars. A jazz quartet played low and velvet smooth near the indoor fountain. The notes drifted, tangled with laughter and the soft clink of crystal. Everyone moved with practiced ease, shoulders back, smiles calibrated, voices pitched just loud enough to be heard over the music without shouting. Jamal stood near a tall potted olive tree at the room's edge, charcoal suit slightly too tight across the shoulders now, cuffs beginning to fray. His name tag, Jamal, accounts receivable, hung straight, the lanyard still crisp from the packet he'd received that afternoon. 7 years he had walked these halls. 7 years of untangling mismatched ledgers at 3 in the morning, of quietly correcting expense reports that would have embarrassed directors if they'd reached the board, of absorbing the blame when quarterly closes ran late because someone higher up had sat on approvals for weeks. Tonight the email from HR had promised special recognition for outstanding contributors. Yesterday Priya, his manager, had leaned over his cubicle wall with a grin she rarely allowed herself. "President's Circle," she'd whispered. "You're on the short list. Don't breathe a word." He had spent the day picturing the moment, modest nod, short thank you, maybe even a photo that his wife could frame beside their son's soccer trophies. He nursed a glass of sparkling water, no alcohol at company events. He'd seen too many promising careers derailed by one loose sentence after the third drink and scanned for Priya. She stood near the marketing cluster, emerald dress shimmering whenever she laughed, head tilted back in that easy way people do when they know they belong. He lifted his glass in a small, private toast. She caught his eye, smiled wide, genuine, then turned back to her conversation. Warmth settled in his chest. She hadn't forgotten. The quartet eased into silence. Applause fluttered up, polite and scattered. Mr. Ellison, the CEO, stepped onto the low platform beside the fountain. Silver hair swept back, shoulders broad beneath perfect tailoring, he looked exactly like the portrait that hung in every conference room. He tapped the microphone once, the room hushed so quickly it felt rehearsed. "Good evening." His voice carried the warm confidence of someone who had never doubted he would be listened to. Another exceptional year. 23% growth. 3 new markets. And every number, every milestone, comes down to the people in this room. Murmurs of agreement rippled outward. Someone nearby clapped enthusiastically. Tonight we honor the very best of us. The President's Circle celebrates those who live our values: excellence, integrity, collaboration every single day. Jamal's pulse climbed. He straightened his tie, smoothed the lapel he'd ironed twice that morning. Priya glanced over, offered a quick thumbs up. He returned it, small and tight. Names began. Junior staff first, marketing coordinator, customer success associate, each stepping forward to warm applause, accepting a crystal plaque and a handshake, posing for the photographer's quick flash. Then mid-level contributors. A project manager from engineering. A senior analyst from strategy. The crowd clapped harder with each one. Priya's name rang out next. She moved to the front with fluid grace, accepted the award, smiled for the camera while Ellison said something low that made her laugh. The room cheered louder, longer. Jamal clapped until his palms burned, pride swelling so fiercely it almost hurt. His turn had to follow. But the announcements continued. Regional Sales Director. Senior Legal Counsel. Director of Operations. One after another, each name greeted with swelling approval. Each recipient beaming, hugging colleagues, accepting congratulations like it was the most natural thing in the world. Jamal's smile tightened, then faltered. The sparkling water in his hand had gone flat and warm. Ellison paused, surveyed the room with practiced warmth. And finally, in our individual contributor category, from finance. Sarah Nguyen, Accounts Payable Supervisor. Sarah. 28, hired less than 2 years ago, always posting CrossFit progress shots in the company wellness channel, practically bounced forward. Applause erupted, louder than for anyone before her. Someone yelled, "Go Sarah!" Laughter followed like an echo. Jamal stood motionless. The atrium lights suddenly felt blinding. Ellison closed with a few inspirational words about the year ahead. Music swelled again. People drifted toward the bar, the dessert stations, small orbits reforming. Jamal remained exactly where he was, feet nailed to the marble, watching Sarah accept hugs and flash victory signs. Priya appeared at his side, voice low. "Jamal." He turned. Her smile was careful now, almost apologetic. They shifted the criteria last week. They wanted visible cross-functional leadership. Sarah drove the vendor consolidation project. "I drove the system migration cleanup when the old platform crashed," he said quietly. 3 weeks straight, 14-hour days. "You told me to keep it under the radar so we didn't spook the board." "I know." She touched his sleeve. "I pushed for you. Hard. But not hard enough." She looked away. "I'm sorry." He nodded once. The laughter around them felt suddenly obscene. "I need air." She started to follow, he raised a hand without looking back. The narrow balcony door opened onto a wind-sliced ledge wrapped around the building. A small sign read "Smoking Area, Use Receptacle." No one else was out here. The city glittered below in cold, endless rivers of light. He gripped the railing until the metal bit into his palms. Behind the glass the party continued, music pulsing, voices rising and falling, glasses chiming. He closed his eyes. 7 years. 7 reviews stamped exceeds expectations. 7 holiday parties where he'd stood at the edges while others danced in the center. His son's fever tonight, 103 when he'd left the apartment. His wife texting every hour. Temperature down to 101, finally sleeping. He'd promised her he might be home late because they were finally going to say his name. A short, bitter laugh escaped him. The door hissed open. 2 voices, male, already loose with drink. Seriously told him he could eat outside? Laughter, sharp and careless. Jamal turned just enough to see them, Derek from Enterprise Sales and the shorter guy whose name he could never retain. They carried overloaded plates. Shrimp skewers, sliders, tiny tartlets. "Yeah," someone straight up said, "you can eat outside." Like, "Go stand on the balcony with the smokers." More laughter. Classic. Dude's been here forever and they still treat him like the temp. Jamal's stomach lurched. They hadn't noticed him yet. Think he even realizes he got passed over again? Probably still waiting for next year. Poor bastard. Reliable Jamal. That's his whole thing. Reliable. The word landed like ice water down his spine. He stepped fully into the light spilling from the doors. They froze mid-bite. "Hey," Jamal said. His voice came out even, almost gentle. Derek's eyes widened. The other guy choked on a mouthful of slider. "Nice spread," Jamal continued. "They let you eat inside?" Silence stretched, brittle. Derek tried a laugh. It died halfway. "Jamal, we didn't." "Didn't what?" The wind pulled at his tie. He let it flap. The door opened again. Priya stepped out, saw the tableau, hesitated. "Everything okay?" she asked. Jamal kept his eyes on the 2 men. "Everything's fine." Derek set his plate on the ledge with exaggerated care. "We should head back in." "Yeah," the other muttered. They sidestepped past him, disappearing inside. Priya stayed. Arms wrapped tight against the cold. "Jamal, I didn't know anyone said that to you." Someone did. He stared out at the city. Someone thought it was hilarious to send the guy who's kept the books balanced for 7 years to stand out here like he doesn't belong. Her breath clouded. "It's wrong." "It is." He turned to face her completely. "You told me I was on the list. I believed you were. But you didn't confirm. I trusted. You trusted the room that keeps erasing me. She flinched as though struck. Something inside him gave way. Not rage, but the quiet disintegration of a hope he had carried so long it had begun to feel like bone. He looked at her, really looked, and saw the woman who had once fought for his raise, who had covered for him during his father's funeral, who tonight had still smiled at him across the room. I'm going home, he said. Wait. No, he moved toward the door, paused. Tell them I left my plate outside. Wouldn't want to dirty their nice marble. He walked back through the atrium. Conversations dipped as he passed, then swelled again. Eyes followed, curious, then indifferent. He kept his gaze level, steps measured. Past the fountain's soft splash. Past the quartet swinging into something brighter. Past the chocolate fountain still flowing freely for people who had earned their place at the table. At coat check the attendant smiled brightly. Great night, sir? Memorable, he said, and meant it. Elevator down. Lobby marble gleaming under low lights. The night guard nodded. Evening, Mr. Carter. Evening.